Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's flow is going to be a rocket inspired flow. I'm so excited to do this with you guys. It's a little bit of sun salutations, we've got some warriors in there, some half moons, standing splits, some work on the floor. There's kind of a real mix of things going on in today's flow, so I'm so excited to share it with you all. As always, grab your blocks or books if you want to use those to adapt any of the postures. Roll out the mat, let's begin and let's get moving our bodies. Okay, so to begin with, folks, I want you to come standing at the top of your mat. I want you to have your feet so they are hips width distance apart, and I want you to really feel like you're grounding your feet into the mat as well. So maybe lift up the toes, press the feet into the mat and just release the toes down. I want you to have your hands just loose, just by your sides. Maybe give your shoulders a little bit of a wiggle just to release any tension. So really make sure that you're letting your shoulders feel nice and relaxed. Keep the spine nice and long, reaching tall through the crown of your head. And just have the palms open. Just become aware of your breathing before we start moving to today's practice. So just really start to focus on your inhales and then on your exhales. Maybe close down your eyes for a few moments. And just use this time to really focus on your yoga practice today. Really feel nice and grounded. I'm just ready for your yoga practice. And then before we begin, I want you to take one big inhale through the nose for a count of 3. So inhale. And then exhale for a count of 3. And again, take that big inhale. And exhale. Maybe activate your ujjayi breath through today's practice, so your fire breathing, where your breath goes all over your vocal cords. You get that nice roaring sound as you breathe. And just always bring your attention back to your breath during today's class. And when you're ready, you're going to blink open your eyes. We're going to take an inhale, bring the hands together, bring the gaze towards your thumbs, and then as you exhale, we're going to come down into a forward fold. Take an inhale to a half lift, make the back flat, gaze comes forwards, and as you exhale, stepping yourselves back, we're going to lower down through chaturanga. On the inhale, coming up into cobra or upward facing dog. And then on your exhale, back into downward facing dog. And in downward facing dog, as always, we're going to pedal out the legs. Have your feet so they're hips width distance apart. Your wrists in line with your shoulders, and spread your fingertips nice and wide. The legs are always a bit tighter if this is your first downward facing dog, obviously, of today's practice. So the legs, the hamstrings, the thighs, everything's a little bit tighter. So just be aware, as always, of how you feel during your yoga practice today. So on your next inhale, I want you to lift your heels. On your exhale, bring your gaze to your palms. Put a slight bend through your knees. You can walk, you can step, you can jump to the top of your mat. Take an inhale back into that half lift, gaze comes forwards, exhale back into forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way back up to standing, and exhale, hands to prayer at heart center. We're going to do that a couple more times. Take an inhale, raise your palms, gaze comes to your thumbs, exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, flat back, gaze comes forwards. Exhale, stepping back, we're going to lower down through chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing dog, and exhaling back into downward facing dog. And again, really pedal out those legs. Focus on your breathing. Bring your gaze towards your navel or the tops of the thighs.
And just really use downward facing dog as a real reset pose. So a point in your practice where you can come back to your breath, you can start to slow everything down again, and just sort of recalibrate before you go back into your next postures of your practice. And your next inhale, lifting our heels again, exhale to bend the knees, gaze comes forwards to your palms, walk, step or jump to your top of your mat, half lift, gaze up, exhale, forward fold. And then as you inhale, rise all the way back up to standing, hands to prayer at heart center. We're going to move on to sun salutation B. So bending through the knees, raise the palms up, gaze comes towards your thumbs. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, bring the gaze up, flat back. Exhale, stepping back, lower down through chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling to downward facing dog. Now on your next inhale, raise the right leg up, bring it all the way through, spin the back heel down, rise up, warrior one. Bring the gaze towards your palms. Exhale to release, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Quick pause before you take an inhale, repeating on the left hand side. Coming up into warrior one again. Exhale, bring the palms to the mat, stepping back, lower down through chaturanga. Upward facing dog, and a big exhale to downward facing dog. And you'll see here, folks, what I said, when you come into your downward facing dog, it's your moment to just really slow everything down and refocus on your breath again, because today's practice is a little bit quicker. It's rocket inspired, we're doing breath to movement, and we're getting the blood pumping and the heat moving through your body. So on your next inhale, lifting your heels, gaze comes towards your palms. Exhale, bending through the knees, walk, step or jump to the top of the mat, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, put a bend through the knees as you come back up through chair pose. Gaze towards the palms, straight into the second round as we exhale to forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, gaze comes forwards. Exhale, stepping back, lower down through chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing dog and exhaling to downward facing dog. Take an inhale, bring the right foot forward, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, palms to the mat, step back, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg through, rise up, warrior one. And exhale, palms to the mat. Move through Vinyasa again, so chaturanga, upward facing dog, and into downward facing dog. So, I'm getting a little bit out of breath here. So, pedaling out your legs, taking a moment, focusing on your breathing. Gaze to your navel. Just stay here. We're going to take 5 nice long inhales and exhales. So just to slow everything down again before we move on. So another inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And then on your exhale, I want you to walk your palms back towards your feet. And here we're just gonna maybe grab hold of the elbows. Tuck my shirt in a little bit more. Grab hold of either of the elbows. Bring the heel toe of the feet out a little bit wider than the hips. And just let the head hang here and just maybe sway from side to side. It's an amazing pose for releasing any tension through the back, through your hamstrings. Of course, be mindful of how your hamstrings feel, as with everything. Focus on your breathing. If you want here, you can always grab hold of the big toe with your thumb and your forefinger. You can come a little bit deeper into the stretch. I'm not going to stay here for too long. Next inhale, Release. We're going to walk ourselves back into downward facing dog. And then on your next inhale, lift up your right leg to three-legged dog. Open up through the hips. Let the back heel fall down towards the left-hand side. Take a couple of breaths. As you exhale, release the right foot down. Take an inhale. Bring the left foot up and over. Just creating space through the hips. Releasing any tension. Maybe flex through the foot. And as you exhale, releasing your left foot to the mat, take a big inhale. Bring your right foot all the way through. We're going to come back into Warrior One again, like we did before in our sun salutations. So have your knee in line with your ankle. Your gaze straight forwards, or you can bring your gaze up towards your palms, however feels good for you today. We'll take a couple of nice big breaths here. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into Warrior Three. So maybe find a good point for your gaze, like a nice stable point. Just coming into a balancing pose. So bring your hands to prayer at heart center. And we're going to bring the weight into, I'm going to bring my stance a little bit shorter here so I don't go bash into the window. We're going to bring our weight into our right foot. So you're going to lift off with the left foot. Keeping those hands to prayer at heart center, you're going to raise your left foot up. Put a flex through your left foot as well. Really try to ground yourself into the mat with your right foot. Bring your left foot as high as it will come today. Again with that fixed point for your gaze. One more breath. And then as you exhale, I want you to bring both palms to the mat. We're going to come into standing split, so if you can make your left leg come a little bit higher, then do. If not, just come to wherever feels good. I know that my leg doesn't go fully into the splits, but just to wherever feels comfortable. It's often I'm quite tight through my hamstrings, so not always very easy, but an amazing stretch all the same. And from here, we're going to come into half moon. So I want you to put the weight through the right foot and the right palm. And we're going to raise the left palm up. So you're opening up your chest here, really broadening through your chest and bringing your gaze up to your left palm. And we're just going to stay here for a few rounds of breath. Again, I can really feel this through my right hamstring. But it's amazing for creating space all through your chest area. And good for balance as well. And on your next exhale, bring your left palm down. We're going to come back into crescent lunge this time. So keep your back heel up as you rise up into crescent lunge. Stay here for a breath, and on your exhale, twisting round to the right hand side. Hook your left elbow over your right knee, hands to prayer at heart center. Right elbow comes up, gaze towards your right elbow. Again, you still might be a little bit wobbly. It's super challenging today for balance, but it's all good. One more breath. And then on your exhale, bring both palms to the mat. Step yourself back to downward facing dog. Take one big inhale here. And then one big exhale. And again, I want you to walk yourself back towards your feet. Back to where we were before, so heel toe the feet out a little bit towards the outer edge of your mat. If it feels okay, grab hold of the big toe with the thumb and forefinger. Take an inhale to a flat back. We're going to exhale as we come a little bit deeper into that forward fold. And just really relish in the sensation of feeling a nice stretch through the back and through the hamstrings. And again, we stay for just a few rounds of breath here, just as a little bit of a pause between each side. Because we're going to go back and repeat what we've done on the right, all the way through to the left-hand side. So On your next inhale, releasing the toes. We're going to come back into downward facing dog. So walk yourself forwards. Bring your feet so that they're back in line with your hips. And then on your next inhale, raising the left leg, bring it all the way through, rising up into warrior one. So have your knee in line with your ankle. Gaze comes up towards your palms. Feeling nice and strong through both the legs. Maybe lift yourself a little bit more so you've got that really nice lifting sensation through the spine, through the crown of the head. Take a couple of breaths. And remember now we're going to come into our warrior three. So maybe find that fixed point for your gaze one more time. You're going to bring your hands to prayer at heart center. To reduce your stance a little bit here. And then get ready to bring the weight into your left foot. One side might be easier than the other. I think my right hand side was slightly easier. And then as you tip forwards with your torso, your right leg should raise. Really focus on your breathing, it will help with your balance, that fixed point for your gaze. One more breath. And on the exhale, woo, bring your left palm down to the mat. From here, we're going to come into our standing split. So actually you've got both palms on your mat, framing your left foot, bringing your head just slightly closer towards your shin, raising that right leg up a little bit higher if you can. Again, just come to wherever you can feel that nice stretch that feels comfortable. Take a few rounds of breath. And then we're going to come into half moon. So you want to put the weight still in your left foot, but now coming into your left palm. And we're going to raise the right palm up. Gaze comes up towards the right palm. Again, fixed point for your gaze. Take a few breaths here. Either point, flex or float the foot. And focus on your breath. On your next exhale, releasing both palms down to the mat. Drop your right foot back down to the mat, rising up into that crescent lunge. Nice and strong through the legs still, folks. And on your exhale, hands to prayer at heart center, twisting round to the left-hand side. Gaze comes up towards the left elbow. Focus on your breathing. This is an amazing stretch. You can obviously feel the twist, but it feels such a good stretch all the way through the thighs as well. Super good for your balance, all these standing balancing postures. And on your exhale, both palms to the mat, stepping back to downward facing dog. We're going to move through chaturanga, so lower down towards your mat. Take an inhale, upward facing dog, and exhaling to downward facing dog for 3 nice long breaths, folks. I think we've made it through the more challenging part of the sequence, so awesome, awesome work. Focus on your breath again. And then we're going to come to seated. So lifting your heels, exhaling, bending through the knees. Maybe do a little lift, a little jump to bring yourself to a seated position. You want to have your legs out in front. We're going to come into forward fold, so give yourself a little bit of a wiggle so that you're on your sit bones nice and evenly. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, releasing into a forward fold. So just come as far as feels comfortable. And just really relish in this moment to stretch out the back, stretch out the back of the legs. Don't hold any tension through your shoulders or through the back of the neck. Just kind of find that point where you feel as if the tension is releasing. And just focus on your breath. And the longer that you stay in any of these postures, the more you'll feel your body just kind of relaxing and letting go. And just going, oh, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing, this feels good. And the tension will start to release. One more breath. And on your inhale, coming up, we're going to bring the palms just either side of our hips, round towards the back. We're going to push through the palms as we raise our hips up. And let the head come back slightly. Really pushing on the palms of the hands here, broadening through the chest. Again, another super amazing stretch for the front side of the body. Take a couple of breaths. One more inhale. And as you exhale, releasing back to the mat, rising up into Navasana, our boat pose. We're going to stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Crossing the legs. Maybe give yourself a little lift, rolling over the feet, stepping back, lower down through chaturanga. One more time. Inhaling to upward facing dog. Exhaling to downward facing dog. And again, coming back to laying down. We're going to shuffle ourselves forwards a little bit. I want you to come down to laying down on your mat. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock and roll from side to side. Maybe if you want, you can come into happy baby. So grab hold of each of the toe, the big toe with the thumb and forefinger. Let the knees fall out to the side. Just roll from side to side. Bring the knees into the chest, give yourself a little bit of a squeeze, and then let the legs fall down. We're going to come into just a very short Shavasana today. As always, if you've got a little bit longer, the more time you have for your Shavasana, the better. And just use this time to slow everything down. Take this time for you, so that your body can take in your yoga practice today, all the benefits of getting on your mat and moving. Let your feet fall out to the sides. Maybe have your feet so they're slightly wider than hips width distance apart. In the palms facing upwards. And just relax through the shoulders. And just take a little bit of a pause here. So when you're ready, just bring some movement into the toes. Touch with a little wiggle. Touch with the fingertips. And then take a big inhale. So on your inhale, raise your arms above your head. Really feel a nice stretch through the whole of the body. Take an exhale as you release. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself one last little squeeze. And then either rolling over to your left side or your right side, come back up to a comfortable seated position. Just bring the hands to prayer at heart center. Just
thank yourself for today's practice. Give yourself a little bow. Namaste. So folks, I hope that you have enjoyed today's practice. It was rocket inspired, it was a little bit quicker, and it should have been a nice full body workout with all our balancing postures and our sun salutations. As always, sun salutations, as you folks know if you've been following me for a while, are my absolute favourites. If I don't have a lot of time, I'll always be doing sun salutations on my mat for 10-15 minutes, which is just amazing. Makes the body feel super good and gives you some energy, which is always a bonus. Anyway folks, I hope this week to record another full rocket for you to enjoy, which I'm sure that you will. So that should be coming by the end of the week. And yeah, have an amazing week moving forwards, and I hope to see you back here in this space again. Thanks folks. Namaste.